Right, very good morning. Once again, I'm going to solve in this class some of the problems which are belongs to risk, calculating risk. So in the previous classes, we learned what is the meaning of return, how to measure risk, and also we learned some of the formulas also, right? So now we shall solve this problem which is on the board. Which is the tool to measure risk? Very good. By standard deviation, we can measure the risk. So we'll take up this problem, right? I'll read out, then make you understand. Listen carefully, be attentive, give your 100% concentration. Clear? Shall I start with a permission? Right. Then an investor wants to choose either X or Y company stock. Both the companies are not paying dividends. X company stock is currently selling for 60 rupees and Y for rupees 120. At the end of the year ahead, there is a probability for X to be sold either for rupees 85 or 75 and Y either for rupees 137 or rupees 133. Which company script should the investor buy? Justify your answer. So X, the current selling price is 60, right? Okay. So we shall take it Y later. Okay. Let us talk about X. Shall we? Fine. Yes. Continue, Chindama. Ah. Huh. It can be sold probably for 85 and 75. Present selling price is 60. It may sell at 85 or 75. Continue. Y is also given. So what is the job of that investor? Choose between X and Y. How to choose? Two things we have to find out. One is risk and returns. Very, very simple. Clear? So then we can compare. So we have to find out return and risk for X and also Y. Clear? So they are given the data, selling price, the present selling price of X company script is 60 rupees. There is a possibility of increasing for 85 and 75. Then we need to find out the return first. What is the probable return? So we call that as RI. So these are the columns you will get. Don't write, just listen. RI. Okay. Return of I script. Then the probability, then to find out return Ri into P. So we have to multiply the probability with return. Then we need to deduct return plus overall return. Then we need to square it, that is Ri minus R whole square, and the last column will be multiplying the probability with this, because in order to find out the standard deviation, we know the formula sigma is equal to, okay, I'll write here, sigma is equal to square root of summation P, that is probability, into Ri minus E of R whole square. This is the formula. We want this. That is the reason this is the last column. Any doubt up to this? Now the question is how to find out Ri, that is written, because they are not given in this question directly. We need to find out the written. So but we have a inputs there. What is that? 60 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಇರೋದು 85 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಆಗಬಹುದು. ಹೌದಾ? What is the written? 60 in the 85. What is the written? How to find out written? What is that? How much? 25 divided by 60 into 100. See, any price change, the return can be found out. Difference in that increase or decrease divided by the initial price into 100. Are you listening, everyone? How to find out returns? Very simple. The difference in the increase or decrease. Increase ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, decrease ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ increase ಆಗಿದೆನಾ? So what is the difference? 25 rupees. 25 divided by 60 into 100. What is the percentage? 41 point. Are you understanding, everyone? So can I write here 41.66? Clear? Any doubt? So for your reference, I am writing here. Okay. So the difference between 60 and 85. See, 85 minus 60 divided by 60 into 100. That is 25. 25 divided by 60 into 100. That gives 41.66. That is what I am writing. Any doubt up to this? Shall I go with the next? What is the percentage of return? How to find out? Difference. What is the difference? 15. 15 divided by 60 into 100. Esto? 25%. Exactly 25? 25%. See, return, it is in percentage. Are understanding? 25% and 41.66%. Now, can you please tell me what is the probability? Because it is not given in the question. 0.5. Why? Who told? On what basis you are saying 0.5? Assumption. See, there are only two possibilities. Also, we studied in statistics. If there are two possible, head and tail, what is the probability of getting head? 0.5. What is the probability of getting 85 rupees? 0.5 and 0.5. Very, very simple. Clear? So the probability is 0.5, 0.5, 20.83, 12.5. Correct? Next. First, we have to find out E of R. No. Okay, we can do that. So decimal age ಇಟ್ಟರೂ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, into 100 ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. No, there will be no change. Clear? So previous problem ಹಂಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಾ, decimal point ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಾ, no problem. ಹಂಗೂ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. See, I think you are telling this one as 0.41. No problem if you write 0.41, or you can express in percentage also. Not a problem. Is it clear? Very good. So E of R 33.33.33, that is ER. Okay, what is this? That is 41.66 minus 33.33. Huh? 8.33. Next, 25 minus 33.33. 8 point. Is it plus or minus? Minus. Remember, this is less. 25 is less. 25 minus 33.33 is minus 8.33. Then square it. Square it. 8.33 into 8.33. 69.38. Okay, next. Again, 69.38. The last one, that is multiply this column into P. 0.5 into 69.33. Sorry, 38. 34.69. This is also 34.69. Then add 69.38. Okay. Now you can use this formula. You can use this formula. Very simple. So standard deviation is equal to square root of the total 69.38. That is standard deviation is equal to 8.32. This is one thing, and this is one more thing. E of R means return. This is risk. Clear? Clear? Now, find out for company Y. For company Y. Okay. Can you please help me? What is the initial selling price of company Y? 120, and it is 137, 133. So the columns: return, probability, okay, return into probability, then return minus E of R, then Ri minus E of R whole square, the last column P into Ri minus E of R whole square. Okay, can you please help me to huh? So 120, that is 137. The difference is 17. 17 divided by 120 into 100. 14.16, 10.83. How we got this? Simple. 133 minus 120, that is 13. 13 divided by 120 into 100. We got 10.83. The probability 0.5 and 0.5. Okay. Ri into P, that is 0.08, 7.08. What about this? 5.41. 5. 5.41. Okay. Right. So what is the E of R? Yes. 12.49. Okay. 14.16 minus 12.49. 1.66. What about this? 10.83 minus 12.49. Minus 1.66. Square it. 2.75. 2.75. Then multiply with P. 1.37. 1.37. Total 2.75. So we know the formula of standard deviation, that is risk, can be calculated square root of P into, that is summation P into return minus overall return, that is standard deviation is equal to square root of 2.75. Standard deviation is equal to 1.65. Good. So E of R, that is written, is any doubt up to this? Any doubt? We need to conclude. Correct? Our job is to conclude. What to conclude? Either to select X or Y. How to do that? Very simple. We need to have a one table. Okay? So we can say X, Y, company, E of R, E of R, correct? Then standard deviation. So Y I have here, that is 12.49, then 1.65. Can you please help me to tell what is the value of X ER in the previous? So 33.33, 33.33, then 8.32. So this is the table we have. We found out return as well as risk. From this we need to conclude. Now tell me how to conclude. Which one you are going to select as an investor? Ah, You tell me which one you are going to sell at. X. Why? Ah. So risk is less here. Return is also less. So what should be your conclusion? As an investor, selecting X will be getting higher returns, but also with high risk. Okay. If you are not aggressive investor, it is better to select Y. You should write both. ಲೈಫ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ, ನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡು ಬರೀಲೇಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಷನ್ ರೈಟ್ ಡೌನ್. ಸೊ ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಷನ್, company X return is 33.33% with a risk factor 8.32. Higher the return, higher the risk. As an investor, or investor can choose X script if he is willing to take some risk. If investor is moderate risk seeker, then choosing Y is a right choice. Less risk and also less return. In your own words, you can write down. Okay. Yes, viewers, for this, viewers, for you, it is a homework. You can solve on your own by pausing the video. Solution: company X, selling price is 50 as of now. There is a probability that is 71 and 67. So RI, probability into RI, or RI into anything is okay. Then RI minus E of R, then RI minus E of R whole square. The last column is P into Ri minus E of R whole square. So the return for this is 21 divided by 50 into 100. Huh? 42, 0.5, then 34, huh? Then 21, 17, that gives us 38. So this is E of R. Okay, this is E of R is equal to 38. Then 42 minus 38, 4 minus 4, this is 16, this is 16, then 8 and 8, this is 16. Therefore, standard deviation is equal to square root of summation P into Ri minus E of R whole square, that is standard deviation is equal to 16, standard deviation is equal to 4. Done. Company Y. Can you please tell me the 27, 100, present price 127, 123. Then RI P P अथवा RI into P, RI into P, then RI minus E of R, Ri minus E of R whole square, the last column P into Ri minus E of R whole square. So the first is 27, 23, 0.5, 0.5. So this is 13.5, then 11.5. So this is 25 plus 2 minus 2, 4, 4, correct? Then 2, 2 is 4. Stand, this is E of R is equal to, whereas stand deviation is equal to square root of summation P into Ri minus E of R whole square, that is stand deviation is equal to square root of 4 is equal to 2. Then you need to do the conclusion. Company X and Y, E of R, then standard deviation, E of R for X and Y, 25 this is 2. Okay, let me check. 38 and 4. 38 and 4. Conclusion. As an investor, I'll go for Y. Risk is 2, return is high. But risk is double, return is not double. I'll go with Y. So you can write your own conclusion, not a problem. Okay, you can start from here. You can start from here. Let me solve this. Let me read out first. The return on the security A and B are given below. Probability security A, security B. Okay, probability of both the securities are given 0.5, 0.4, 0.1, and the returns are also given 4 to 0 of security A and 0.33 for security B. Our job is to find out which is good on the basis of return and risk. Okay, so how to solve this? So first we will consider security A. Solution, security A. So the columns again Ri, P, Ri into P. So Ri minus E of R, Ri minus E of R whole square, and the last column P into Ri minus E of R whole square. Ri, that is security A, 420, they given probability 0.5, 0.4, 0.1. So if we multiply, this is 2, this is 4 to the 8, and this is 0. So 2.8 is the return on security A. R1 minus E of R, 4, 1.2 minus 0.8 minus 2.8 square, 1.44, 0.64, 7.84, then 0.72, 0.256, 0.784, add 1.76, right? Then formula, that is stand deviation is equal to square root of summation P into Ri minus E of R whole square, that is stand deviation is equal to square root of 1.76, stand deviation is equal to 1.32. Very simple. Then security Y, security Y or B? B, security B, security B. So again column Ri, probability Ri into P, Ri minus E of R, Ri minus E of R whole square, last column P into Ri minus E of R whole square. Can you please Help me out to write down Ri of security B. 0, 3, 3. P 0.5, 0.4, 0.1. So this becomes 0, 1.2, 0.3, 1.5. E of R is equal to, so 0 minus 1.5 is 1.5 minus 1.5. This is just 1.5 and this is also 1.5. Square 2.25, 2.25, 2.25. Probability 0.5 into 2.25, 1.125. Next 0.9, huh? Next 0.225, 2.25. So standard deviation is equal to square root of summation p into Ri minus E of R, that is standard deviation is equal to square root of 2.25. Answer 1.5. Very, very simple. Conclusion: security A and B, this is E of R, that is return and standard deviation. For B it is 1.5, then this is 1.5. For A, previous slide 2.88, only 8. Okay, 1 point, right. I think less risk, high returns. We should choose security A. We should choose security A. Conclusion you should write. See, when we compare risk and return, risk is less and even the return is more for security A, then our job, that is our choice should be security A for this data. Yes. So what I do, I'll solve for this, only the company A I'll solve. Rest I think you can solve on your own. It is very easy. The question says, out of this, they're asking, are all the stocks attractive investment? We need to say whether all A, B, C, D are attractive or not. If not, we have to give reason. If yes, also we should give reason. Of those that are attractive, how should the investor choose one to buy? On what basis? That is, we know that on the basis of risk and return, we need to choose the script. Okay. So let us find out. I will solve a company A or a script A. Then rest you can do it on your own. I'll take up next page, and students kindly help me out to write the data solution for the previous problem which I displayed, that is company A. So written they are given Ri, that is P, minus 30, 0, 30, 70, correct? And probability they are given in the percentage. So it's, I suggest you to convert into decimal, or you can keep directly like that, not a problem. Okay. So but I am converting probability into decimal as they are given in percentage. So what is the percentage given? 20%. I can write down 0.2. 20% means 20 by 100, that is 0.2. Next 0.4, that is 40%. 0.3 because 30%. 0.1, that is 10%. So rest is same as previously, and here I'm writing now Ri into P, Ri minus E of R, Ri minus E of R whole square, the last column P into Ri minus E of R whole square. So minus 30 into 0.2 is minus 6, 9, 7. That gives, hey, come on, minus 6 is there, 10. E of R is equal to 10. Now, minus 40, our understanding, why minus 40, minus 30, minus 10 is minus 40. Square it, 1600. 840, total is 840, and we know the formula of standard deviation, square root of summation P into Ri minus E of R whole square, that is standard deviation is equal to 840, hence 28 point. Like this you need to find out E of R and standard deviation for B, C, D similarly, and compare. By saying the risk and return, you can compare and suggest which company is good. Any doubt up to this, please let me know. When you get minus, be careful. When you get minus, be careful. So let me explain a very important problem or a concept and solve this problem. For exam sake, you can expect this as a case study. Remember, it is very, very important. Okay. So I think to solve this problem, first we need to understand the concept. Then also we should understand the problem. Then we can solve. First, let me read out the question and make you understand what is the question is. The following data gives the market return on the Sun company script return. So there are two things in this. One is market return. So we know something called as systematic and unsystematic risk, which is measurable, and the market risk is called a systematic risk, right? We can measure it. So market return and Sun company script returns are given, individual company script is given, and also the market returns also given for a particular period, right? What is the beta value of Sun company script? First job is to find out what, first job, our job is to find out beta value. Then the second is, if the market return is 2, what would be the script return? Market return 2 ಆದರೆ script return ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? So are you understanding what I'm saying? So first we need to find out what is beta value. So how to find out beta value, and what is the, like, if the market return is 2, what would be the script return? So which concept we should use? Right. So we need to understand this concept called as CRL, that is characteristic regression line concept, which we studied in the first semester, that is regression concept. The same thing is applied, and this concept is called as what? Regression, characteristic regression line, CRL. Okay, first let me explain. I think most of you were absent in the previous class, or maybe not be. Once again, it will be a revision for you. This characteristic regression line, that is CRL, is a concept to measure the relationship between the security of a company, one company, and the market return. Okay, what is this? It's a concept to measure the relationship. So we understood the concept called as correlation and also regression. We're going to use correlation and regression in this. So here between what we are finding the correlation between what and what. One is individual security line and also the market returns. So what is the relationship between the return of the one company with its market? So what is the example for market? Sensex or Nifty? Yes, Manjula? Correct. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮೆಷರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ? What is the relationship between the individual stock return with its market return? By using the regression concept, that is RI. We can find out the return on a individual stock, which is equal to alpha plus beta RM. What is RM? That is return on market. Right? So return on market, that is alpha and beta, we have to find out. How to find out beta? Very simple. Beta is equal to n into summation xy minus summation x into summation y all divided by n into summation x square. See, this is a formula to find out beta. And alpha, we can find out alpha is equal to y bar minus beta x bar. When we get alpha and beta, we need to substitute in the this equation and find out Ri. Very simple. So in this kind of concept, the first thing our job will be to find out the beta by using this formula. Then we have to find out alpha by using this formula. Then written on individual script, we can find out by using this formula. Very simple. So what is this? CRL, characteristic regression line, gives us, tells us the relationship between individual stock return with market return. Clear? Right? So the main equation Ri is equal to alpha plus beta Rm. So you can neglect error. There is no need to worry about this. Okay, in calculation you can neglect this error term. So Ri is equal to alpha plus beta Rm. Our job is to find out beta first step. Second step is alpha. Yes. Then we can substitute here. Done. Okay. Solve ಮಾಡೋಣ. So ಬರ್ಕೊಂಬಿಡಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಈಕ್ವೇಷನ್ ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Ri is equal to alpha plus beta Rm. Then you can write down this formula. Then also you can write down this. Right. Once again, I'm going to explain this question. Then I'll explain how to solve this. See, there are two things given. One is market return and it's a Sun company, that is one individual company returns. These are returns. These are returns. Index return means market return, RM. Script return means individual, RI. RI stands for what? Return on individual stock, individual company, individual script. Is it clear? M stand for market. Index is nothing but market. Sometimes to make you confused, you know what they give? Index Sensex return. ಏನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಮಂಜುಳಾ? ಅಥವಾ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಏನು ಕೊಡಬಹುದು? ನಿಫ್ಟಿ ರಿಟರ್ನ್. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? Is it clear? So that is market only. Any doubt after this? They given two returns, that is market return and individual stock return. What is the beta value? Themselves they are asking. We have to find out first beta by using the formula. We know that. Correct. Second is, if the market return is 2, that is RM is equal to 2, then what would be the script return, that is RI. So beta ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿಬೇಕ್ರಿ, ಆಲ್ಫಾ ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿಬೇಕು, ನಂತರ ಮೇನ್ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಬೇಕು. RI is equal to alpha plus beta RM. ಆ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಎರಡು ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಸುಪ್ರಿಯ ಆಚಾರ್? Right. So can you please tell me how to solve? Which are the columns we need to make? Now question is, we have to take what? Rm as y or x? Yx. Why not y? Rm now exact ತಗೋಬೇಕು. If the market return is 2, what would be the script return? So it should be y, because this is dependent on what? Index. Aita? Rm, okay, please try to understand. Always Rm which is x. Clear? Then Ri y. Then what? X square, y square, x into y. Can you find out? Can you do this? Yeah, please. I'll take up in the next slide. Kindly check and tell me the total of all the columns. 2.41 na? 2.82. So after this, I need to write down the beta formula. Beta is equal to n summation xy minus summation x summation y whole divided by n into summation x square minus summation x whole square. This is the formula, correct? So beta is equal to n andre number of items 9, summation xy is 2.82 minus summation x 5.4, 4.5 whole divided by 9 into summation x square is 3.4 minus summation x whole square 5.4 whole square. Step by step, beta is equal to 9 into 2.82, 25.38. 5.4 into 4.5, 24.3 divided by 9 into 3.4, 30.6. 5.4 into 5.4, 29.16. So beta is equal to minus 1.08. What about this? 1.44. 0. Divide this, you'll get 0.75. So after finding beta, we have to find out alpha. Alpha is equal to y bar minus beta x bar. First our job is to find out x bar and y bar, because we don't have. So how to find out x bar? X bar is equal to summation x upon n or small n, anything is okay. Summation x, total of x 5.4 divided by answer 0.6. Y bar summation y upon n 4.5 upon 0.5. Let us find out alpha value. Alpha is equal to 0.5 minus beta, which we found out in the previous slide, 0.75 into x bar is 0.6. So first multiply these two. Alpha is equal to 0.5 minus 0.75 into 0.6 is 0.45. Therefore, alpha is equal to 0.5. We got alpha. After finding alpha, our job is to find out the main thing, that is Ri. Ri is equal to beta plus Ri is equal to alpha plus beta Rm. So in the question, Rm is given 2. Given in the question, Rm is equal to 2. Therefore, Ri is equal to alpha we got 0.05, beta also we got in the previously 0.75, Rm in the question they given 2, Ri is equal to 0.05 plus 1.5, that is written off sun script 1.55. So this is how we need to find out. So just to recall the first step for this kind of, when individual company returns are given and also market returns are given, the first step will be to find out beta, second step will be to find out alpha, then the last step is Ri. Very simple. Okay, so this kind of problems you need to practice from the textbook.